The show begins with Naozumi Tsuchida waking up to his alarm and realizing that he is late for the first day at his new job and hurries his way to the Hanamaru Kindergarten. On his way, he sees a little girl named Anzu standing alone on the road and stops to ask her where her parents are. However, when calls her miss, she gets excited, thinking that Tsuchida is hitting on her just like she had seen in the TV show. He then asks her where her parents are and she tells him that her mother is on the way. Looking at his watch, Tsuchida realizes that he is getting even more late and hurries on his way to school. The scene shifts to Anzu's mother bringing her to the Kindergarten and she gets very excited after seeing the place and keeps asking her mother about everything. Meanwhile, Tsuchida faces the principle of being late to the entrance ceremony. He then goes to Yamamoto, who is distributing badges and souvenirs to the new students, and introduces himself to her. She stands and greets him and the two then continue to distribute the badges. Later, as they line up the students and introduce themselves to them, the parents get worried seeing a male kindergarten teacher. Anzu then suddenly says that the teacher hit on her. Tsuchida freaks out and tries to explain that it's not true but ends up making even more embarrassing comments, making the kids laugh. The scene shifts to Anzu, Hiragi, and Kum introducing themselves to each other. Later, the kindergarten faculty tries to calm Tsuchida down, telling him that everyone makes mistakes at first. Suddenly, a strong wind blows and Kum's ribbon gets stuck on a tree. Anzu then climbs the tree to get it back, making all the teachers and students worried. She climbs the tree and slips from the tree branch as soon as she gets the ribbon, but is saved by Tsuchida. Anzu's mother, Sakura, then scolds her for causing trouble before she returns the ribbon to Kum. Tsuchida then recognizes Sakura as his high school senior. After school, the kids tell their parents about their first day at the kindergarten. Sakura then tells Anzu about Tsuchida. Meanwhile, Tsuchida makes his ramen and rhinos about getting close to Yamamoto. Later, Anzu's father gives Sakura a goodnight kiss and she tells Anzu to get her kiss, but she tells her that she will only get it from her darling. Tsuchida oversleeps again and gets late. He runs into Sakura and Anzu at the kindergarten gate and Anzu calls him Tsuchai like his mother used to in high school. She then thanks him for saving her the other day and that she will be his bride. Sakura then tells him that they will be a great couple while the other students and teachers find it funny. Tsuchida manages to reach on time despite getting up late. Kawashiro and Yamamoto greet him and he is flustered by her beauty. The scene shifts to Tsuchida taking his first class and realizes that the class is more chaotic than he imagined as the little children make so much noise. Anzu then comes to him and asks him about his favorite food, and he tells her that he likes food with salmon. The other kids also come to him, all of them talking at the same time and causing chaos. Nishikaze then calls him to help her with the deliveries before one of the kids asks him to take him to the bathroom. Noticing that Tsuchida is caught up, Anzu asks him if she can explore the kindergarten and he allows. She then takes her friends Hiragi and Kum and the three roam around the place. Later, they enter a room and end up causing chaos. Tsuchida is then told by the director to not let the kids be on their own. He then tells his class to always ask him before going anywhere. Ryuta then asks Anzu why she calls Tsuchida Tsuchai, and she says that it is because they are lovers, also saying that the two are dating with the blessing of Anzu's parents with the aim of getting married. Tsuchida freaks out, telling the kids that none of this is true, but they don't listen and start laughing, calling their relationship forbidden love. The director later calls Tsuchida again and she tells him to be careful as the rumors about his relationship can be uncomfortable for parents. Anzu then tells him that things will be fine and he wonders why he is telling his problems to a kindergarten student. Some students from Kusano's class ask Tsuchida to play ball with him. Later, Tsuchida's students tell him that it is unfair to play with other kids and he then calls everyone to play. He takes the kids on the slide and they enjoy it for the very first time. The scene shifts to Kum telling Angus that she got a bunny on her birthday and Anzu says that she is very lucky. But students from second year tell her that bunnies cannot survive if they are left alone and it will be dead by the time she gets home. Anzu tells them to stop teasing her friend but Kenji says that he's just telling the truth. Hiragi then tells Kum that this is only a myth. Kenji feels challenged by Hiragi's level of knowledge and challenges her with more things, but she provides an explanation to everything, making him angry. Later, he stalks her around the school to find a weak spot. Tsuchida tells the other teachers about Hiragi being a walking encyclopedia as she has knowledge about everything. Hiragi's father is an astronaut and helps her father with his work. Later that night, Kenji decides to prove the existence of ghosts, but ends up getting scared in the forest. He is then saved by Hiragi, who comes to look for him with his father and Tsuchida after they were informed that he is missing. He apologizes for his mistakes and admits that she is very intelligent. Anzu confesses her love to Tsuchida, but he tells her that the age gap is great and they cannot be together. During lunch, she tells her friends that because Tsuchida is too shy to approach her, she confessed to him, but he is not being honest with her and is pushing her away. Yamamoto then enters the calls and Tsuchida gets very excited to see her. Anzu gets jealous and tries to get on top of Tsuchida, but he puts her down again and again, making Yamamoto think that they are playing a game. She tries to join and makes all of them trip and fall. Yamamoto's breaststroke touches Tsuchida and he is flustered. The scene shifts to Hiragi teaching Kume and Anzu about human relationships and tells Anzu that she, Tsuchida, and Yamamoto are in a love triangle. The three girls then read a magazine and Hiragi tells Anzu that she should have large breasts to make Tsuchida attracted and fills her up with air. However, she fills her up too much and she turns into a ball. They read another article and find out what men want from their girlfriends. Anzu then goes home and decides to prepare food for Tsuchida after learning that men like women who can cook. The next day, she gives Tsuchida a lunch box of what she made, but it looks gross. Tsuchida says that he cannot eat it and Anzu tells him he can before taking a bite herself and instantly throwing up, and Tsuchida takes her to the bathroom where she tries to kiss him. He then cleans her up and she tells him that she wants to grow up as fast as she can so that she can be with him. He tells her that being an adult is not easy and she should not tell people that she likes them right away, making her think that children can't fall in love, to which he says that children fall in love in their own way. Just then, some students call Tsuchida to play with them. The scene shifts to Yamamoto writing to her parents and telling them about everything about the kindergarten, her colleagues, the students, and all the work she does. While she waits for their response, Tsuchida is having lunch with his colleagues who tell him that Yamamoto is clueless and does not understand when men approach her. Later, Yamamoto gets a call from her father who asks her about Tsuchida and then advises her to be careful as he does not want her to get her heart broken or get tricked by any immoral man. Anzu asks Tsuchida about how beautiful love is and how heroines always have to go through something to be united with their lovers, but Tsuchida tells her that it is all unreal, making her angry. Hiragi then helps her friend by telling her that she should bring Tsuchida's favorite romance to life and she asks him out on a date. She then borrows a sweater from Kawashiro and goes to see Tsuchida, who is waiting for her on a bench. They have some coffee together where Hiragi and her other friends show up dressed as waiters and cafe owners. Hiragi tells them to order something that is on the house as he has a beautiful girlfriend, but as the drink is brought, Tsuchida drinks it all on his own, leaving nothing for Anzu, who is struggling with being little. She then starts crying that Tsuchida ruined their date, but he apologizes and she asks him to take her for a drive. He gets into a toy car and pretends to be on a drive date with her. After some moments, she asks him to sit with her on the bench. Just then, Hiragi brings a display of stars in the night in front of them while Kume pretends to be a shooting star. Hiragi then tells Tsuchida to kiss Anzu and he has no choice or else Anzu will start crying. But the announcement about playtime being over saves him and he walks away. The next day, Anzu tells Tsuchida to take her on a zoo date. The next day, Tsuchida tells his class that he has to go attend a wedding and Yamamoto will be taking care of his class for one day, telling Anzu to not cause any trouble for her. The scene shifts to Yamamoto sitting in the faculty office when she asks the director to let her combine her class with Tsuchida's class for one day and brings the students outside in the open. Anzu then says that she wants to help Yamamoto as Tsuchida is not here and Yamamoto agrees. She tells Anzu to get some colored paper from the classroom and she does as told, but is unable to find the colored papers, creating a mess. Yamamoto then sends her back to her classmates and clears the mess. The students have a fun day at school and after Anzu helps Yamamoto with all the work. After school, Anzu notices Yamamoto still working and decides to stay back and help her after asking her mother for permission. She helps Yamamoto prepare everything for the next day. Later, she stares at Yamamoto and finds her very beautiful and feels that she might take Tsuchida from her, but she reassures Anzu, saying that she is cuter and Tsuchida loves her. The two then spend time talking. The next day, Tsuchida finds Anzu, Hiragi, and Kume having a private talk with Yamamoto. Anzu asks Tsuchida to go out with her on Sunday, but he tells her that he is busy as adults are very busy people, making her think that he is cheating on her with someone else. She decides to investigate and Hiragi tells her that being a detective is a job. The three then form a team and name it Hanamaru Detective Brigade. On Sunday, they call Tsuchida and tell him to not spend all his weekend at home and then follow him when he leaves the house. They first see him go to a cafe and assume that he is waiting for someone, but when no one shows up, they see him checking out the waitresses and Anzu feels relieved that he has no girlfriend. Meanwhile, Anzu's mother Sakura follows the girls to make sure that they are okay. Tsuchida then goes to the convenience store and reads some adult magazines, and Anzu says that she is fine with that as well. Later, Tsuchida gets into trouble for not throwing the trash in the bin and Sakura saves him. He then apologizes to the social workers whom he assumed were gangsters and Sakura thought they were harassing him. Tsuchida then asks Sakura what she's doing here and she walks away after pretending that she has her own business to take care of. The girls then follow Tsuchida as he takes a drink from a vending machine and sits in a park. He then receives a call from someone who tells him that they are going on a date and the next Sunday's plan has to be cancelled. Tsuchida sits and thinks to himself about how life has changed as an adult. Meanwhile, Anzu and the girls think that he is lonely because the girl he was supposed to go out with dumped him and tries to comfort him. Later, Anzu tells Tsuchida that she was following him with her friends because she thought he was cheating on her with someone and decided to investigate. He then offers them to get some taiyaki with him and they happily agree. As they leave, Anzu says that she has forgiven Tsuchida for reading adult magazines and looking at waitresses, which embarrasses him a little. The scene shifts to Tsuchida on his job when Anzu tells him to come and talk to her about their future, but he tells her to do it later. She then jumps on him and starts telling him what she wants after getting married while Hiragi and Kum follow them. Kum trips and falls on the way and is helped up by a student named Yu. Kum is mesmerized by him and tells her friends about him. Hiragi then gathers information about him and tells Kum that he is a second-year kindergarten student. Anzu says that Tsuchida is better looking and Yu is just a child, but Kum disagrees. Anzu then tells her that she should confess her love to him and Hiragi also agrees, telling her that anything can happen at any minute and she should not waste time. However, Kum is shy and they tell her to write a letter. She tries to write a letter but does not know how to write and Hiragi tells her that she should instead try giving Yu a gift. Kum tries this but ends up tripping again. Later, Hiragi calls Yu inside and Kum tries to confess to thank him but gets shy. But after a few moments manages to thank Yu for his help the other day. He then invites her to play with him outside. It's pool day at the kindergarten and everyone changes into their swimsuits. Anzu is determined to knock Tsuchida off with her swimsuit as she looks beautiful in it. Meanwhile, Yamamoto forgets her swimsuit and brings the wrong one instead. The scene shifts to the students gathering around the pool when Anzu comes to him and asks him about her swimsuit and he tells her that she looks cute. Moments after, Yamamoto comes to the pool area in her swimsuit and Tsuchida is drawn by her beauty and tells her that she looks radiant in her swimsuit, making Anzu jealous. She tries to get his attention many times after, but fails. Anzu and her friends then decide to help Anzu win Tsuchida's love back by showing him a synchronized water dance. However, they fail to execute their plan and Anzu's nose starts to run. Tsuchida then helps Anzu clean herself up, making Hiragi and Kum think that the two are getting close. Just then, Yamamoto comes to Tsuchida and Anzu, and Tsuchida gets distracted, which makes Anzu mad again. The scene shifts to Tsuchida watching Yamamoto play volleyball with some kids when Kum comes to him and says that Anzu is in great trouble. Tsuchida gets really worried, thinking that she might have hurt herself but only finds Hiragi swimming around in a shark costume and Anzu pretending to be in trouble. Anzu later tells Tsuchida that she did all this to get his attention because he was looking at Yamamoto in her swimsuit all the time and makes him promise he won't look again. Just then, Yamamoto's blouse opens and is about to fall off and expose her chest and Tsuchida witnesses this, which makes Anzu angrier. Later, Yamamoto returns home and asks Mayumi if she switched her swimsuit, to which Mayumi smiles and asks her if Tsuchida liked her bikini and tries to convince her that he likes Yamamoto, but she brushes it off, saying that he was admiring her swimsuit and not her. Tsuchida's sister Satsuki comes to the kindergarten and yells at him for being irresponsible and not leaving the keys in the mailbox. She is then forced by the kids to play with them and realizes that it's hard to be a kindergarten teacher, but finds Tsuchida sitting in a corner and playing video games and scolds him. However, she later notices that Tsuchida is responsible and caring towards the students and is impressed. The scene changes to Tsuchida opening the bento box that Satsuki prepared for him and is mesmerized by the delicious food. Summer break arrives and Anzu's mother Sakura plans a trip to Tsuchida's hometown and invites Yamamoto, Kum, and Hiragi to join them too. The scene shifts to all of them sitting in a train. Anzu jumps into Tsuchida's lap and says that it is like they are going on a honeymoon, but Tsuchida tells her that a honeymoon is a trip that newlyweds take alone, to which Sakura says that this makes all of them Tsuchida's brides. Tsuchida feels uncomfortable and Yamamoto apologizes for taking the joke too far. They then reach their destination and the girls are mesmerized by the huge field of sunflowers. Tsuchida offers Yamamoto and Sakura to carry their bags and Yamamoto tells him that he's very kind. The scene changes to Satsuki getting ready in her room, excited to see her brother. She hears their voices as they reach and goes outside as Tsuchida and the others greet his mother. Later they have food and Tsuchida's mother thinks that Yamamoto is his fiancé and asks her about the betrothal money. And Anzu freaks out after knowing that an engagement is a confirmation of marriage. But Yamamoto tells her that she is only a colleague. Anzu then says that she will be his bride and starts calling Tsuchida by his first name Naizumi. The next morning, Sakura takes the girls to a nearby river where they play and have fun. Meanwhile, Tsuchida sits by the bank, enjoying Yamamoto in her swimsuit and Sakura teases him. He then asks her why she brought Yamamoto to the trip and she tells him that she is trying to help her. A flashback reveals how Sakura tries to set up dates for Tsuchida. Later, Satsuki prepares food for the guests and tells Yamamoto that she is in a cooking club and won second place in a worldwide cooking contest with her recipe. She requests Yamamoto and Sakura to not tell Tsuchida she made these and gets angry when he is unable to guess that she made the food. The scene shifts to Anzu telling Tsuchida's stories to his family and Satsuki feels proud of her brother. Later that night, Anzu wakes Satsuki up to take her to the bathroom, and they later talk about him while stargazing. Satsuki tells Anzu that her brother used to be more considerate, but Anzu says that he's still the same. She then tells her that the summer festival begins tomorrow and they can all wear yukatas. Next day during the festival, Satsuki runs away and Tsuchida finds her at their house's entrance, just like when they were little. Later, he tells her that he couldn't believe that she made the food because it was too delicious, and she tells him that she has won an award for her cooking. They later watch the fireworks and Tsuchida tries to make a move with Yamamoto but is interrupted by Anzu. The children return to the kindergarten after summer break, and Anzu shows Tsuchida how tan she got and tells him that she missed him although summer vacation was fun. He gives Kuma a toy koala and tells her that he brought it for her from Australia, while Hiragi shows Kenji the astronomical landscapes she took with her father. The scene shifts to Tsuchida asking his class about their summer vacation drawings, and they show him what they made one by one. One of the students named Ai draws her parents to work and tells the class that her parents couldn't take off from work. After school, Kun feels sad for Ai not being able to go anywhere for vacations and wonders if she is lonely as they watch her leave and head home. Tsuchida buys some fish from Ai's parents' shop. Sakura also stops by the shop and buys some fish, complimenting the sincerity of Ai's father in his work. She then realizes that she left her wallet at home and leaves to get it while Anzu, Hiragi, and Kun wait for her at the shop. The girls forcefully help Ai's parents with the shop and they are impressed. Meanwhile, Ai hears their voices inside and goes outside to see. The girls later convince Ai's parents to let her help, saying that she can help them better as she watches them work. Ai's parents feel proud as they watch her deal with the most customers. Next day at school, Ai tells her friends that her parents have allowed her to help them and they congratulate her, but Ryoto says that he can also do this work. The scene shifts to Tsuchida passing by a girl who breaks her clog and decides to help her and finds out that she is Hinajiku, the daughter of a very wealthy man. Hinajiku thinks about Tsuchida while bathing and is mesmerized by his smile. The next day, Tsuchida tells Yamamoto about Hinajiku when suddenly a black car arrives at the kindergarten and Hinajiku steps out with her guards. She comes inside and proposes to Tsuchida to marry her. She later tells the director that she has never met someone as wonderful as him and tells them that she has decided to transfer to Hanamaru Kindergarten so that she can be close to him and get to know him better, and she is transferred to Sunflower class. She then continues to observe him until one day finally decides to propose but is interrupted by Anzu. However, she doesn't seem to pay any attention towards her and asks Tsuchida if he will have a problem dating someone a year older than Anzu. Kenji then tells Hinajiku about Yamamoto, and she assumes that Yamamoto is a bad woman who deceives men with her beauty. However, when she meets her, she realizes that Yamamoto is not what she thought she would be and is mesmerized by her charm. Meanwhile, Anzu is talking to her friends about how she can protect Tsuchida from Hinajiku. Just then, Hinajiku comes to them and tells them that she is giving up on Tsuchida as Yamamoto is a great woman, but Anzu says that she cannot give up on her love. Later, Hinajiku tells Tsuchida that she is putting the engagement on hold and she will return once she is the perfect woman for him. Hanamaru is trying to finish a manuscript for Panda Cat when the bell rings and he opens the door. Mayumi enters and tells him that she has come to collect the manuscript, but he tells her that he needs more time as he wants to submit the work with which he is satisfied. She then tells him to work and not worry, saying that she will talk to the chief editor. Later, she manages to convince the editor to extend the deadline for Hanamaru and realizes that she forgot to give him his gift and rushes back. Meanwhile, Hanamaru is sitting in a park thinking about Mayumi and how she brings him energy. Anzu and her friends then come to him and ask him if he is sad because of love, and he is left speechless. Suddenly, Mayumi comes to them as he is telling the girls about how she feels, startling Hanamaru. She then hands him the cake and the girls get excited too, so he invites them to eat with him. Later, he stops Anzu from telling Mayumi about his feelings and tries to explain to the girls that there is an order to everything. Hiragi then tells him that if he doesn't confess his love, Mayumi will never know, but he feels depressed. The girls then do the Panda Cat dance to cheer him up before Mayumi leaves, remembering something she forgot. The scene shifts to Tsuchida shopping with Yamamoto and she thanks him for accompanying her. She asks him if he would like to have some dinner after and he agrees happily. A moment later, Mayumi comes running towards Yamamoto and ends up noticing that Tsuchida likes her sister. She takes Yamamoto with her for a favor, forcefully canceling their dinner plans, and asks Yamamoto to buy things related to Panda Cat with which she can help Hanamaru with the script. Later that night, Yamamoto tries to make up with Tsuchida because she thinks that he is very hungry. The students of Sakura class make drawings of what they want to become and Kuma is unable to decide. Then the discussion about why Tsuchida became a kindergarten teacher begins and he says that it is because of personal reasons. Later during the night, Kusano invites Tsuchida to watch a movie. Kum's brother comes to the kindergarten to keep an eye on her as he adores his sister and wants her to be safe. Meanwhile, school field day is approaching and Kum wants to join the foot race, making her brother worried that she will end last and cry. Anzu and Hiragi make Kume practice so she can win. They ask Tsuchida to be the coach, but he is unavailable, so they ask Kusano and help Kume practice. The race day arrives and Kume is very confident, but later trips and falls. However, she stands back up to continue the race and everyone admires her, but later starts crying and her brother goes to the end of the course to call for her and gives her a medal even though she lost the race, while Anzu and Hiragi finish first and second in the foot race. After the sports day, the faculty of Hanamaru Kindergarten has a get-together. Much later, Yamamoto and Tsuchida are influenced by alcohol and Tsuchida confesses his love to Yamamoto. The next day, Tsuchida wonders if Yamamoto remembers what he said to her the day before as he passed out before getting a response. He talks to Kusano and she advises him to ask Yamamoto directly. Meanwhile, Yamamoto thinks that it is a line from her favorite manga that she wished someone would say to her. Getting frustrated by how unperceptive Yamamoto is, Tsuchida drinks until he is too drunk to go home and sleeps in a garbage pile. He is later found by Anzu and her mother. Sakura gets angry when Tsuchida thinks about quitting his job. Meanwhile, Anzu finds out about Tsuchida's confession to Yamamoto from Kusano, but as there was no response from Yamamoto, she doesn't lose hope. Tsuchida goes out in the rain and wants to yell but doesn't really do it. He later falls ill with a cold and Anzu goes to his house to take care of him and help him get better, saying that he can think of him as his bride. She then gives him tangerines and goes to tidy up the kitchen but ends up breaking a glass. Later, Tsuchida ends up doing all the chores and also makes ramen for them. She then falls asleep and Tsuchida calls Sakura to tell her and ask her if she should stay at his place for the night. She tells him to take her for breakfast and dinner the next day as she is trying to finish some work. The next day, Anzu tells her friends that she spent the night with Tsuchida, and Hinajiku overhears this and calls her immoral. However, she later tells her that she fell asleep after she went to see Tsuchida and had coffee with him in the morning. Hinajiku then asks her if Tsuchida's cold has gotten better and she tells her that he has come to the kindergarten as he is better now. Later, Anzu tells her mother about Tsuchida's confession to Yamamoto and how it got ruined, saying that she wants Tsuchida to be happy again but does not want him to confess his love to Yamamoto again. But her mother tells her that nothing is stronger than the power of love and she should not give up and rather only think about Tsuchida's happiness. The next day, Anzu goes to see Tsuchida again and tells him that she will do his laundry for him and he goes with her to help. The scene then shifts to Tsuchida sleeping when he opens his eyes and finds Anzu cleaning his house and asks her how she got in. She then shows him the spare key that she borrowed from his landlord. She then falls asleep again and Tsuchida carries her to her house and Sakura makes him help her finish her writing work for the magazine. Later, while discussing jobs, Tsuchida says to Sakura that he feels that he is better suited to a different job after trying to confess his feelings to Yamamoto. She then tells him that he should not only work to impress her but instead to improve himself. He realizes that his sadness is making his students worried too and decides to pull himself together. He then goes to Yamamoto's place with flowers but loses courage and heads back home but is stopped by Mayumi. Seeing the flowers and his attitude, Mayumi instantly realizes that he likes her sister. Mayumi later tells Hanamaru about her encounter with Tsuchida, saying that her sister is too dense. Meanwhile, she herself doesn't realize that Hanamaru likes her and glancing at the flowers that he bought for her, he wishes that she realizes that she is dense too. Tsuchida goes to see Yamamoto at the kindergarten and finds her writing letters to her parents. She asks him about the flowers and he gets shy, saying that these are for decorating the office. Later, the two walk together while talking and Yamamoto trips but is saved by Tsuchida. He then asks her what she would do if someone asked her out and she says that she doesn't know how she would handle the situation but she would really like it. However, she wants to focus on her job. Hearing this, Tsuchida leaves, thinking that he has no match for a focused woman like her. He then heads home and finds Anzu at his place. She then serves him thaw dinner she prepared for him and he finds it very delicious. He later tells her the story of Prince Clumsy and Princess Dense while Yamamoto tells Mayumi about her encounter with Tsuchida. Christmas arrives and everyone is invited to Anzu's house for a party. But Anzu falls asleep during preparations while asking Santa to grant her wish. In her dream, she becomes an adult and goes to see Tsuchida but gets distracted along the way, forgetting what she wanted to do. She is then told by an adult Kume and Hiragi to board a bus that Tsuchida would board, and she ends up getting off at the same spot. They dance in the snow together before sharing a kiss and Anzu wishes to actually be with Tsuchida one day. The scene shifts to Anzu going to an art gallery with her friends where they see an exhibition of her father's paintings. One of the paintings showing Sakura and a baby Anzu. It is then revealed that Tsuchida was the one who always encouraged Sakura to continue pursuing her crush, which led to their marriage. He also told her nothing is stronger than the power of love. And Sakura loves to tell Anzu the same thing, so that she also never gives up on her love, as Tsuchida was the reason Anzu was born. After they leave the gallery, Tsuchida is asked to watch over Anzu. Although he wants to spend more time with Yamamoto, he still does it, and so with Anzu around, Tsuchida loses his courage of telling Yamamoto that he wants to see her the next day. Anzu then tells Tsuchida that he should not give up on his love for Yamamoto, which confuses Tsuchida, but Anzu says that she loves him and wants him to be happy. Encouraged by Anzu's words, Tsuchida runs back to Yamamoto to confess his feelings, but she thinks that he is talking about work, effectively foiling his confession. The scene shifts to Tsuchida and Yamamoto happily putting on a puppet that portrays the tale of the clumsy prince and the dense princess during the Christmas party. That's all for today. If you liked the video, then give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.